Hey up folks, so I was just going to do a review on my new Mountain Warehouse boots today, but I thought instead I'd go a little bit further and bring out all the boots and shoes that I've got, run through them with you, tell you the costs, tell you what I think to them, and do a bit of a comparison. I've got 5 pairs altogether, all packed up in my rucksack, so I'm just going to find somewhere to get them all out and I'll let you have a look. Just gonna have a drink while this aeroplane goes over. So the first pair of boots I've got to show you are my Freedomtrail walking boots. Now these cost me £25 over 2 years ago now, and they're still in good nick. They're obviously dirty. I don't really bother cleaning my boot because they're just gonna get dirty again anyway. But they're like a leather boot or leather effect. I don't know if they are leather. Yeah, I think they are. I got these in a size 10. I use them mainly for dog walks and short hikes. I've never used them on a wild camp because I've got other ones that I use for that. But I've been through mud and water and all sorts, and they've always stayed dry. They've never leaked. So for the money, for me, I think these have been brilliant. I wouldn't want to do a full day's walking in them. They are comfortable, but I don't know how they'd stand up on a sort of really long walk. I got these from Go Outdoors, and I don't think Go Outdoors use this Freedomtrail brand anymore. They do have a boot that looks exactly the same, but it's branded as High Gear. So I think they've just changed the brand name. And now they're £32. I'm sure these were on offer when I bought them. So as with everything from Go Outdoors, if you're interested in something like that, just keep an eye on them. They'll have some sort of discount code or sale at some point. So yeah, I'd recommend those to anyone if you're just getting into wild camping and hiking and you want a cheap first pair of boots to get you started. They're ideal, or even as a backup pair, you know, as a second pair for muddier days and wetter days. They're really good for that as well. Then if you subscribe to the channel and you've seen any of my recent videos, you'll have seen me testing out these Mountain Warehouse Rapid boots. So these aren't leather, they're suede, and they've got breathable bits of mesh or material in them, but they are still waterproof. It's kind of like a cheap version of Gore-Tex, I think, that's in the liner in them, but it means they're a lot lighter than the leather boots. Now I bought these in December. I've done probably 50-60 miles in them now, on walks ranging from 2 to 3 miles up to 10, 11, 12 miles. So I feel like I've given them enough of a run to give you my opinion on them. I did wear them on my last wild camp as well, which the video should be out for now if you want to check that out. Now price wise, I've given up trying to keep track of what the price is. I paid $39.99 for them, but between me buying them in December and now, where we are in sort of, where are we? End of Feb, I've seen them at $34.99, I've seen them at $45.99. So again, if you're interested in these, just keep checking the website. There will be some sort of offer. I know Mountain Warehouse do a sign-up offer as well. If you stick your email address in, they'll send you a code. And you can get these in brown, black, and blue, I think. And I don't know why they do it, but Mountain Warehouse sometimes have different prices for different colours. So if you're not fussed about the colour, you can sometimes get them a bit cheaper in a different colour. So I went for them in the brown. Again, I got a size 10. They are really roomy at the sort of toe end, so they fit really snugly around my ankles, and then I've got loads of room for my sort of toes to wiggle about. And if you're not used to that, it can take a while to get used to, but you basically got a really big toe box here, which I know is meant to be really good for your feet because you're meant to allow your toes to spread out, but just something to be aware of. They do feel quite large as well, so as with all of these, I'd recommend, if you can, get to the shop, try a few different sizes on, even try a few different styles of boot to see what works for you. But I've had these out in mud and rain, long wet grass. I've been through streams in them. They've not leaked yet, and the grip on them has been really good, even on sort of wet rock and in mud and things that you'd usually slide around in. It has been really good. It's not Vibram or anything like that, but there's a half decent sole on there, and it does seem to work. So like I said, I've used these on a wild camp. I will continue to use them and see how they perform over a bit of a longer time and longer distances. But for £35 for a waterproof, breathable boot, I don't think you'll find any cheaper or better than those, to be fair. I've then got my sort of spring and summer shoes. I bought some Salomon, I think they're the X Ultra Primes. They're not the Gore-Tex ones, so these were £45 from Sports Direct. I've had a look and I don't think they sell them anymore. They just sell the Gore-Tex ones for $95, but if you can find some of these, I do really like them. They're very lightweight. They're not waterproof, but in spring and summer, that doesn't really matter. And because they haven't got any sort of breathable membrane in them, if they do get wet, they dry really quickly. The grips, okay, and I'll talk more about the Salomon grip when I come onto my boots. The fit's quite snug. So again, I went for these in a UK size 10 and they are really tight on my feet with just a little bit of room at the end for my toes. So try them on if you can, and you'll probably find you'll need to size up in the Salomon shoe. Another thing I had with these that I need to fix, I don't know if you'll see it on camera, but the foam insole has slid down. So I think it's glued in place, and what's happened on one of the hot days is my foot's got hot and heated up the glue that holds that in place, and then the insole's slid down and then the glue's set again. So I'm hoping I can heat that up with a hairdryer or something like that and put it back in place. But that's the only thing that's gone wrong with them, really. I bought those in January last year, so I've had them for just over a year now. Now, if there's any boots that I've got that I regret buying, it's these. And these are the Karrimor Orkney boots. I paid 70 quid for these. They're leather boots with Vibram soles on them. And again, size 10 UK, they do feel quite large, similar to what the Mountain Warehouse ones are. So you might want to size down half a size, or just put them on with a couple of pairs of socks or really thick socks. Now, I haven't worn these loads, I'll be honest, and the reason is that they're so heavy, they can be quite difficult to walk in, and I find that I get really tired really quickly when I'm wearing them. I wear them mainly in those sort of really dark, wet and dingy winter days and nights when everywhere's sodden and you need something that you know is going to keep you dry and be strong. And they do still feel quite stiff. The leather hasn't really loosened up or bedded in. And I've had these as well for just over a year, but you can see even from the sole I haven't really used them. So if you like a heavier boot and a more rugged boot, these would be worth a look. They're 70 quid from Sports Direct. But if you're doing any sort of long distance walking or hiking, you probably want something a bit lighter and a bit more supple. And then I've got my Salomon X Ultra 3 Gore-Tex boots. Now, I do really love these, but there is a couple of things that I found with them that I'll come on to. So they're really light. They're obviously a Gore-Tex boot. They're breathable. They've never leaked on me. I paid £120 for these from Sports Direct, and I've worn these on pretty much all of my wild camps apart from the one where I wore my Mountain Warehouse boot, and the long distance charity hike that I did as well. I wore these. They're by far the comfiest boots that I've got, and I will continue to use these until they fall to pieces. The couple of things that I found with them is when they were new, they made like a weird sort of, not banging, but like a thudding noise. As I was walking and the toe bends there and pops back into place, it would make like a weird thudding noise. But I found that once I'd got them wet and dried a couple of times going through streams and wet grass and stuff, they kind of bedded in, and I got a little crease there that stopped that happening. The other thing I found is that the grip isn't the best in the wet, and I've mentioned it before, but if you're on wet rock or anything like that, just be careful with the grip. I know some people swear by them, but I have slipped a couple of times on wet rock in them. But any other kind of surface, they've been fine. So in terms of favourites at the minute, my Salomon boots, and probably the Mountain Warehouse boots as well. For £35 here and £120 here, I don't think they're worth the extra, but it all depends on how long these last, and as I say, I'll keep testing them out. But if you're just getting into wild camping or hiking, these would be a really good investment. But just bear in mind that footwear is always a personal thing. What's perfect for one person will be really uncomfortable for another, and vice versa. So I'd recommend, if you can, get into a shop, try as many different styles on as you can, and then try a few different sizes around sort of what you normally have. So if you're a 10, try a 9.5 and 9, a 10.5 and that sort of stuff, because all the different styles will fit differently and be slightly different sizes. So take the time to find the right style and size for you. So as always, thanks for watching. Got any comments or questions, drop them down below, and I'll see you in the next one.